Welcome everyone to another observability clinic. What's new in Dynatrace 2.75? We are now doing these videos on a release by release base, and with we, it's me and mainly Berkan. Berkan, thank you so much for being back for 2.75.
Hi, Andy. Thank you very much. How are you?
Let's go straight into it, right? Because we got some feedback that people really like that new format. Can you quickly switch to the next slide?
Okay.
Perfect. So folks, this is what we have for you. Quick introduction about the playground environment. Then the major part will be Berkan giving the product updates. And then in the end, some community and resource related stuff. Let's do the playground tenant. Folks, if you are not familiar yet, if you do me a favor, perfect. We have the Discover Dynatrace option for you on the Dynatrace playground tenant. Everybody that has a Dynatrace account, a Dynatrace SaaS account, can access this playground tenant. In case you don't have an account yet, well, just sign up for your trial. That's the top left link. You can sign up or just go to the website and sign up for it. But with this bit.ly link, you also get there. Once you are in Dynatrace, you can always go to the Dynatrace playground tenant. We also have a short URL here. That's the dt_urlnet/discover. And we also have a lot of hands-on material, a lot of tutorials, a lot of links to dashboards and notebooks on that GitHub repository that you see on the bottom. So if you have not yet explored the playground tenant, it's a great way for you to see Dynatrace in action and explore the different use cases. But now, Berkan, over to you. 2.75 is what we're here for, to learn more about.
Yeah, let's get it started. So now in 275, this is the general overview of what we have in our documentation. And as always, here's the link that you can directly reach. And if you see this video from our documentation, you already know that what we are doing here. And if you like to be also that updated with other components, you just need to go to documentation and get the details about OneAgent, ActiveGate, and all other Dynatrace components directly from there. So in this version, also in the previous version, also we mentioned to you that the threshold API is end of life, which means that it has reached its functionality, and we are moving this functionality to metric events, and you can configure the metric events via the settings API. The migration documentation was shared within the previous version. And in this version, you can see the general settings API documentation directly from that link. Also, we had the schema ID, which is anomaly detection metric events that you need to use for your metric events configuration. And there is a change in Microsoft, on the Microsoft side. There are several metrics, request metrics, has been retired by Microsoft as of August 31st. And these metrics are total gateway requests, successful gateway requests, and so on. You see the list on this page. So what does it mean? Basically, your dashboards and alerts based on these metrics will no longer work. And there are already new metrics available with our Azure API Management Service integration. And you can see those metrics directly from the documentation, which is also posted in this slides. On the platform side, we introduced a new DQL commands. In this release, you can see this fieldsFlatten commands. It's basically can be used to extract flatten fields from a nested record. We have an example in our playground environment, which I will show you in a couple of minutes directly from there. And we also have a new DQL function set, as you can see as a list here. Please check documentation directly to get all the details of this function. I will not show you that one by one what functions we have, but I will just show you one example at how we can use this function in Notebook and in DQL. And this example also is available in this link. Is you can directly reach. Also the same for the operators. We introduced a set of operators with this version. Maybe the different part is that I'm not sure if ISum or IMax type of operators are available with this version, because I couldn't find those functions and these operators in DQL. And maybe the documentation that there was a synchronization issue with our documentation, our product management teams. Therefore, I only put iAny operator that in DQL. But for the other ones, if you don't see them, it may be that this is the reason. Just for information, I will sync with our team internally and see what exactly it does mean. And we will maybe remove those features from documentation, or we will update our documentation if those features, those operators are already GA, general availability. And for the iAny operator example, it will cover in demo environments, which you can also find directly from this link. Do you have any additional information about these operators? Have you used one of them before, or the same one is also new to you?
I have not used them before. One thing that I can tell you though is that we just published another video on the DQL guide for metrics for time series data, and probably need to check with Fabrice on this. So as you said, let's follow up with the product team on these operators.
Okay, sounds good. And infrastructure, but before going to details, let's jump on our demo environments and see what features we have in DQL platform section. So this is our general documentation, as always, as mentioned. And these are the components that I also talked about in the beginning of our session. Please check this documentation to see the latest status of those components. So on the platform sides, the first example that I mentioned is the fieldsFlatten command. In this example, we have the sample records. And within the sample record, we have this nested fields. So basically with these commands, by using this command, we can extract these fields, these values, and with the prefix information, with the prefix data, and add as a additional fields in your query result. And you can see directly in these results that how the C1 and D1 that parameters are available here as a separate, column separate data in your query results. And one of the functions that I mentioned is arrayIndexOf. And this function is used to find the index of the first occurrence of a specific value in an array. So the value example here is, as you see, there's 2 here. And when we search for the specific value in this array at index 0, we see that this is located. Therefore, the R1 is our field here. The value is 0 in this case. In this example, and for this, it is located in the first index. So this is the reason why you see the first as a value. So basically, this arrayIndexOf function that you can use it to do a search and print the value of being sought within the array. So the operator example is iAny operator, as you see here. So from this query, we briefly retrieve the records from the entity process group instance and add a field called software technologies. And for each record, we check whether at least one of the values within the software technologies matches the pattern Python in this example. So essentially, it filters and creates a result set of containing group instances that involve Python technologies, as you see from the results as well. Okay, these are all updates from the platform section. So now let's continue with the infrastructure feature releases. Oops, okay. So on the infra side, we have now a new monitoring unavailable events. So this event is triggered whenever a VMware connection invalid credentials happening. So what does it mean? Whenever you have any integration issue due to your credentials, we trigger a availability event. And this event is active for up to 6 hours and then closed. I think that's pretty useful, that especially that I think we need that it's our, let's say, having more information about the integrations, that's its stability, let's say, or the status of the integration is really pretty useful for us. And you can also be notified, for example, for the missing alerts from your integration. And for VMware and also for AWS, I think we are increasing our visibility whenever a connection is gone and the reason behind it. So I think this is a good step for that use case. Also for many of our customers can understand, I think, the value of it.
That's really good, and especially because obviously when you do rotate credentials in these environments like VMware, then first of all, you should also think about that you can update these credentials, obviously with the Dynatrace API. So normally it should not happen that Dynatrace loses the connection, but in case the credentials get updated and you forget to update them in Dynatrace, it's great to have this event so that you can then trigger the right people to update the connection settings. Yeah,
that's a great point. Okay, so here from the log monitoring, we can now configure the timestamp character search limits as a part of the configuration rule. Regardless of any format, that normally the timestamp occurs within the first 64 characters of a log entry. But now we have a chance to raise these limits in OneAgent configuration page to find those maybe timestamp information that occur elsewhere or that occur outside of those 64 characters. So it's a great also that feature for you to configure in your settings page. We will also show you a couple of minutes in the demo environments. From the Kubernetes side, that we have this minimum ActiveGate version requirement, which is 263 that version. So in this case, the warning is 273. But I think that's the warning, that similar warning that you will see, that I couldn't find any older version example, therefore I put this here. You will see a similar warning that might be for your general features. But if you don't see it, at least that just to know that you need this version to deploy in the Kubernetes features. Again, with the Kubernetes integration, we increased the sample periods and observation periods that's in anomaly detection settings. You can see in this example now the limits of this, the value of this sliding window cannot be more than 60 minutes. It was 30 before. And you can also find this configuration change in the playground environments. You can also try it by yourself in your environments. I will just quickly show you where this setting exactly located. Okay, let's go to our platform again. So the first configuration I mentioned here is the settings from settings application. If you go to settings application and under log monitoring, you will find OneAgent configuration menu item. Within this menu item, the timestamp search limit is the configuration change that we introduced recently. And here is the place that you can increase the bytes within this log lines, basically. And the sample time periods here from the Kubernetes clusters, the IKC is the one example that I picked. And from this cluster settings, as you see that the anomaly detection is located. And from this anomaly detection, I just choose cluster as an example. And if I configure this, here is the part that you are going to see. I don't have permissions to change the configuration, but this is how exactly that you can reach directly from your environments. Okay. So we introduced actually that years ago, the bind variable capturing, but for SaaS and for platform subscription at users, now the bind variables capturing is available for you to enable only for Dynatrace platform subscription at users, at companies. And there is no additional support is needed. So for the ones that don't know bind variables, they're essentially placeholders or parameters in SQL statements that allow you to pass values dynamically into the queries. So this is how basic that you can use them in Dynatrace and capture them and have more additional insights. Here are some examples you can find in the bottom of this trace. And these are, I think that's the tenant information and the count I can see as bind variable. So these will be visible with, by enabling the feature of bind variable capturing. I will show you also from demo environments. Actually, I will show you in a minute and how we can do this. It's a really simple feature enablement, and you are good to go if you have this, of course, this license model. So to find that specific feature, again, you need to go to settings page. Under server-side service monitoring, you will see the deep monitoring section. And within this section, we have the database part. And here you can see the capture SQL bind variables, bind values in this example. You can do the setting global basis or process group level visibility, because I think that is important for you to think about your performance. And also maybe the license, I don't know about this. Is license affected by this change?
You know, I'm not an expert in every single detail in Dynatrace, so I don't know. I assume, though, there is some licensing because we are capturing a lot of potential additional information. So I think there's some license impact, but I don't know by heart, to be honest with you. But what's great here is a lot of applications suffer from bad performance when it comes to executing SQL statements, as you correctly said. And a lot of SQL statements use bind values, as you also correctly said, typically for the where clause to filter things. And now knowing what SQL statement with which bind values has different performance characteristics is hugely important when you try to optimize your SQL statements. And capturing these bind values therefore shows you those bind values in our distributed traces. You can then also do your analytics and you can do your multi-dimensional analysis on top of this as well. So it's really great to then say which SQL statement with which bind values has performance problems or is causing even an application to crash or things like that. Yeah, really good.
And for further information, you can simply check this documentation for this feature and the license, and also the adaptive traffic management control. The version 3 is the one that you need, and that's all that you are good to go after that. Okay, and the last one is for workflows. So we introduced this PagerDuty for workflows integration, and it's briefly allows you to manage your PagerDuty incidents. And these are some sample examples that you can find in the workflow. And I will also show you how you can integrate this PagerDuty or workflows, how you can use it in your environment. I think this is the last one that we need to do. Yes, I think this is the last one. So if I close the screen and let's go to our environment. So here, first from the settings application, you will, okay, the first thing that you need to add the PagerDuty for workflows. Let me type this again. This application is available in Dynatrace Hub. When you install this application, you are going to see this setting is popped up directly under Dynatrace apps. And you can access this Dynatrace app again from settings page. Once you have this configuration, you need to do your own credentials. You need to add your credentials in this section by adding an item. And once you have this, from this example, I cannot show you because this is a part that I have permissions. Now I need to jump on demo environment quickly. And here, within the workflows, okay, for clear selection. And I think the one that's with vulnerabilities, okay, not this one. This one, I can use it. And here, for example, if I add another action item, here you will see on the right side the all available PagerDuty for workflows steps where you can configure to create an incident or restore escalation policies, restore users, and so on. So briefly, these are the exact steps that you need. And as always, for further details, you can check our documentation to find step-by-step that's configuration needs from there.
It's very useful, and especially so every app that extends the workflows with an action, whether this is now PagerDuty, whether it is Slack, and there will be many more coming. Also, Snook is here. You install the app, but then typically the app needs some type of configuration, like how do you connect with PagerDuty? How do you connect with Slack? And these connections are then configured in the settings. Yeah, that's good to know. Perfect.
Okay. So that's all from my end, I think. Get back to you, Andy.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Berkan, for doing this. This was 275. I would say we will be back for 276, obviously, in not too long in the future. But enjoy 275. Give us also feedback. All of the links that Berkan had here, you can access them from the slides. You can download the slides on Dynatrace University. So just be reminded, if you're watching this on YouTube, then there's also going to be the same video available on Dynatrace University. And on University, we also give you the slides. The links, what's just great about the links is that we will give you all of the links in the description as well of the video. With this, thank you so much. See you on the next one.
Thank
Thanks,
you very much.
Berkan.
See you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.